Come here, let me show you something. Look at this engine bay. It's sick. Look at all this money that was spent on all these beautiful parts. It's awesome, we love it. Now look at this. This is not sick, this is stock. There is a serious differential in performance departments here, and we're gonna fix it. We've got this wonderful assortment of products to get this car up to spec in the suspension and wheel department. Starting at the core of the package, we have the Ohlin's Road and Track coilover kit. This is a premium offering, going to be great comfort on the street while sharpening up the suspension. Great for casual track days, but also just fun back roads. But the key here is that it keeps it comfortable. It's not gonna ruin the ride of your car. Coupled with that, we have a white line 20 mil sway bar. This is just gonna stiffen up the turn in a bit by stiffening up the rear, leaving the front stock. That's just a preference choice for the way the car handles. So we went with that for the rear. Also for the rear, this is a must-have for any coilover install on the 08 Plus STI or WX chassis. You need a adjustable lower control arm. When you lower the car, you lose your adjustment range for camber in the rear. This allows you to get it back. We decided to go with the ISC. These are a nice billet piece. The gold is kind of on color scheme with the Ohlin's a bit, so that's just kind of the choice of the gold versus the black. Should look pretty cool when it's on the car. Finishing this out, we have a set of Graham Lights 57 Extremes in the beautiful Eternal Blue Pearl. It's a little bit dull in the shop lighting, but this color really pops in the sun. It's a nice deep metallic. It's really gonna go nice with the black paint and just shine a lot. For tires, we decided to go with the Advan Apex V601. This is a 265/35 on an 18.9.5, so it's a nice, just flush square fitment. It comes out to about the same diameter as the OEM wheel and tire package, so it keeps your speedometer in check and overall doesn't affect the driving dynamic of the car too much. So that's the rundown of everything we're gonna put on the car. We are gonna start getting everything assembled here, and we will show you how to install it. Don't worry about that. All right, we got all the wheels off the car. We're gonna start with full disassembly of the factory strut setup. So we're gonna get those off the car, and then we will start working on the Ohlins. So we're unable to do a alignment here. So just in the effort of keeping things as close to aligned as possible, I'm just gonna mark the camber bolts in the front here. It's not gonna be perfect going back together, but at least it's a good reference point of getting them like relatively in the same spot of where they were before, just so it's safer to drive to the alignment shop to get it done once we're all done with this. While I'm removing this. On the job. Okay, so we got all of the rear suspension components removed. We're gonna put the control arms here, and then we're gonna mock everything up and test our wheel fitment. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, we need to make sure we take apart our pillow ball. It can be a little difficult sometimes. Then we're just gonna protrude the seal a little bit like that. Get a nice liberal amount. I don't.
It's free, you know. You had CR lives and stuff.
They're not real?
Terminated.
All right, so to get these set up, we're gonna do what I like to call a dry assembly. It essentially consists of all of the components that make up the coilover, except the spring. So we're gonna do the upper spring perch, our spacer here, then our top hat, as well as the nut. Get it nice and centered up. Done. So what this is going to allow us to do is mock it up on the vehicle with our sized wheels and tires, and make sure there's no clearance issues. From there, we can shorten or lengthen the shock body to get within basically the travel that we're looking for. All right, so we got all four mocked up here for just the dry test fit. Before we go ahead and do that, we are going to adjust the overall shock body length just according to the specifications listed here in the documentation provided. They do list two different lengths for either the GR chassis, so 08 to 14 STI versus VA 15 to 21. The VA setup is about 10 mils shorter, so we're gonna go ahead and shorten it up to that spec, and then we'll go ahead and test fit them on the car. Be like played you.
But then the fucking.
Okay, so we got both a front and a rear mocked up here. We're gonna go ahead and put them on the car and then get a wheel on both the front and the rear, and we're gonna take some measurements. He's, but still, it's like there.
There you go.
And put that little backwards too. We got everything set up here, both the front and the rear. Got the sway bar disconnected down there. So we're gonna go ahead and get one of the wheels prepped to go on. First, of course, we need to share some hotness. These are from RCM, they're titanium lug nut set. Very nice piece, full titanium, good thread engagement, super light. So now we'll take our wheel, got a nice aluminum hub ring. Not super necessary for this, but it helps. Destroy them. I've actually, and compress the bump stop. The more okay, so with everything on the car now, we got it lowered a little closer to the ground, and we're gonna use a jack to basically max out the shock as well as the bump stop, and we're gonna check for clearance all around. If we feel that the gap is pretty big, we will shorten the length of the shock. If we feel that the gap is too small or it hits something before the shock maxes out, we're going to lengthen it. So this is basically a procedure to make sure that everything within your suspension package and the way it relates to not only your vehicle, but also the wheel and tire package you've gone with, is all working in conjunction to help each other and not collide with each other. So you can see here, we're at the max of our shock travel. We're actually starting to lift this corner of the vehicle slightly. This is looking pretty perfect as far as I'm concerned. Even with the camber set pretty positive here, you still have a finger's gap between your tire and the fender. And mind you too, this is the absolute most extreme that this shock is ever going to get to. By the time you add things like the spring, and your sway bar into it, that's gonna generate the cross load. Only under very extreme like dips and big bumps in the road are you ever even going to hit this point. God, imagine not having McPherson rear suspension. Yeah, see. So now we're doing the same thing, just in the rear here. With the more aggressive fitments on these cars, the rear tends to be more of the point of conflict, mainly just with the tire hitting the fender arch here. Basically, there's three things you can do to combat that. Of course, you can roll or pull your quarter panel, so do fender work as they call it. You can raise the ride height of the vehicle, or you can do what we're gonna do, and that's add some negative camber. So basically what'll end up in the rear is about 2.5, between 2 and 3 degrees, just enough to get this inward when it's fully compressed and not have a chance of touching that fender. All right, so we got everything back off the car after our test fit. Luckily, after checking clearance with the wheel fully compressed, we didn't have to make any adjustments. So the numbers that Ohlin's provided to us were spot on, which is what you expect from a premium suspension offering like this. So all we have to do now is put these things together and install them for good. I was like, I can't guarantee it, but it might work. Like, you can try it. Dude took that as fact. Well, so they just specify a 2 mil preload.
Okay, so you'll...
It's that guy. Okay, it's taken. My nut. Now I'm busting it.
Be sure to,
Before you got here, Jesus Christ. That is the coilovers all installed, including the rear control arms. We only got one piece left before we could put the wheels on and set this thing down, and that's gonna be the rear sway bar. So this is the 20 mil bar from Whiteline. I think it's a nice balance, just adding to the rear. It kind of sharpens up the turn in a bit without like really changing the dynamic of the car. I think it's just a good balance for like street cars or kind of like weekend warrior type stuff. It'll even be good on the track, so that's why we went with the 20 mil. We're gonna get this thing on. Now, the Whiteline bushings they provide you with, they are grease-free, so they have a coating on the inside. It might be a little hard to see, that effectively just makes them good without grease. They won't stretch or tear. It'll keep it well lubricated. So you can just put these on. So you can just put these on. It's a little difficult, but eventually it'll go on like that. No man has touched this bush in 20 years. It's all dried up. Well, these are... Boom. Okay, nobody... Are you around probably pissed off? Is the top or the bottom? And it's just like a support. Ones are just like these flat stock. Should have just not filmed that. This is it? Yeah. Okay, that's everything bolted up, good to go. We're gonna lower the car for the first time, see how everything looks, see if we need to make any adjustments, but I think it's gonna be pretty damn close. So let's see. Or is it too Stance Nation? Well, I'm happy to say that after setting the car down, the fitment looks great. It's pretty much exactly what we were going for, just a nice like 2 fingers, so about an inch, 3/4 of an inch from the fender. It'll be kind of good just like all around, good on the street. You're still gonna be able to make it up driveways and stuff, but it just tightens up that gap, makes it kind of equal all around in a way, makes the car look better, more aggressive. All the stuff you're looking for in a suspension upgrade. So with that, we're gonna roll the car out and wrap this thing up. Well, I'm happy to say that the appearance and suspension performance can finally match the engine performance of this vehicle here. I think it turned out great. It's great to see the blue wheels out in the sun against the black car. I know it's a little cloudy right now, so it might kind of blend together, but I promise you these wheels are blue. They're very blue. So we're gonna finish it out just with a nice little rip down the road so you can hear this baby purr. And don't forget, coming soon to this channel is a full build breakdown on everything that's gone into this car.